name's Ashley Moody, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So, I'm from Washington, Kentucky. If you don't know where that is, it's in Bullitt County. And if you don't know where Bullitt County is, it's pretty much 10 or 15 minutes outside of Louisville. Just to give you an idea, they just built a Kroger there like 4 years ago, maybe. They built it while I was away at college, and my family had to always drive into Louisville for groceries unless we went to Winn-Dixie, but Winn-Dixie closed too. So after that, I moved to Bowling Green. I'll tell you more about that next. And after I finished my undergrad, I came back to Louisville to teach. So on the left is a picture of my mom. She just got remarried this summer. That picture is actually from this past June. On the left are my two stepbrothers. In the middle, down low, is my niece Kendall. And to the right is my brother Kenny. So underneath that is a picture of my dad and I. That's when he first got out of the hospital a few years ago, so that picture is really special to me. So education, like I said, I moved to Bowling Green. I went to Bowling Green to go to WKU, Western Kentucky University. Had a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool people. In that picture are my best friends Amber and Kara, and of course Big Red. So while I was at WKU, I majored in elementary education and minored in teaching English as a second language. So the middle picture are two of my professors there. The professor on the left is the one who really pushed me into ESL. And how that happened was I was taking a mandatory English course, and I never liked English. I was always way more of a math person. But she had these volunteer hours that we could choose from, and I went to the teaching. It was the Student International Center for the university, and I just did conversation practice with international students, and I loved it. So she could tell that I really loved it, and she kind of talked to me about some different options. And then Dr. Poole on the right also helped me a lot through the program, and then they gave me an award, so it was really cool. And on the right, so after I graduated from Western, moved back to Louisville, and did my first year of teaching so I could get through K-TIP. And I wanted to teach abroad, but I ended up enrolling at Bellarmine to try and knock out my master's. And I decided to do literacy specialist, which maybe a lot of you all are doing too. So that's me reading to kids because I thought it went with literacy. A little bit more about teaching. So that's my grandma in the top left-hand corner. She was actually a language learner because she grew up speaking Spanish in Arizona. She grew up on an Indian reservation, and her first language was Spanish. She didn't learn English until her older sister learned English at school. And then underneath that picture is a picture of my first class when we won Class of the Week. That's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. It kind of cut some of them out. But they're super silly. Actually, over half of them were language learners. After my student teaching, I knew I wanted to work in high needs schools, so Louisville was the perfect place to get to do that and be close to my family. I was actually overstaffed there. I was teaching just a general second grade class, general education. I was overstaffed, and then I moved to Fairdale Elementary specifically for ESL. That's the sign that's outside of our door, and we have a little flyer, and it says, "Everyone matters." It has our names and our bilingual assistants' names. And underneath is a kid. He is working on some vocabulary, and he's dressed up like a doctor doing it because we changed our room to be like a hospital. It was really fun. So this is a quote I found. It says, "It does not matter who you are or where you're from, we're all children of the world." And those are some of the kids on a field trip we went on. So I don't just work with ESL students. I actually do sheltered instruction a lot, so I get to work with all kinds of different students, which I really love that. And I really have noticed Bellarmine seems to really push equity, which I think is so important, especially today, because over 80%, I believe, is what I read, of language learners are actually born in the United States. So, they're children of the world, but a lot of them are experiencing a lot of the same things. in different ways, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to articulate. So my next steps with teaching, I don't exactly know what I want to do next. I think maybe I'll try to look for some different summer programs to teach abroad, because I do want to stay here, especially in terms of like tax purposes. But I think it would be really cool to do some work abroad or do more work with the refugee ministries and things like that. So maybe that's where I'll go next. I'm teaching because I sometimes talk about teaching too much. I like to try new foods. I love new pizza, the best, but I'll try other things too. This is me in New Orleans with some beignets. I didn't eat all those by myself, but I probably could have. I tell people it's pretty much like funnel cakes. If you've never had them, you totally need to try them. And that's my boyfriend in the middle. That was on his 23rd birthday, if you're wondering why I'm crying Michael Jordan is everywhere. But those faces were all over this apartment because Michael Jordan's number is 23, so it made sense. And then that's my dog. His name's Romeo. He's kind of bad. I actually got him for free off Facebook. I got that hat at Walmart for $1. He only wore it for one day. Probably just for long enough for me to take that picture. And then that's my best friend Whitney. I sometimes like to work out and run, but it doesn't always happen. On this particular day, we ran on Thanksgiving morning and we got a cinnamon roll at the end. They do it every year. If you've never done it, it's really fun. You don't have to run. You could walk if you really wanted to. We were laughing there, so I really like that picture because I've probably never laughed while running in my life besides that moment. We actually went back, that was 2 years ago. We went back last year. We'll probably go again this year just to make it a tradition. But yeah, that's about me. I'm excited to get to know everyone else in the class and learn some new things and ways about how to incorporate technology in equitable ways.